how could this be?
I'll let you have that.
Oh, no, you really, I don't care. Do you want it?
You can have it,
Hello,
Carl.
I guess we're on.
Yes. Greetings.
It's not official until he says greetings, so...
Yeah, now we can start officially.
Yes. Welcome to our show, Ghosts Are Near, where we explore various aspects of the paranormal and paranormal research. I am your host, Keith Johnson, also the founder of New England Anomalies Research. With me is my co-host, Sandra Johnson.
Hello there.
And our alternate co-host, Carl Johnson.
Hello there. I thought you were going to say alternate quahog at first.
Quahog. Well, this is Rhode Island, after all, right?
Family Guy.
Yeah, right.
Family Guy paranormal style.
Exactly. That's where you get it, right here. We have a very special return guest tonight with us, the author of Haunted Rhode Island, and now the author of Haunted Massachusetts and Haunted New Hampshire. I'd like to welcome to our show again, Tom D'Agostino. How are you, Tom?
Hey, Tom.
Great to be
You're
here
very
again.
busy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You get around.
Yeah, we travel. It's fun.
You've been a very busy author lately,
Oh, yeah.
and you've been traveling to all these locations and doing research.
Yep. Investigations and, of course, visiting and anywhere we can't go to. At least we talk to them on the phone. But we try to get to 70% of all the places, at least, and do an investigation to interview the people. And some of the places we actually stayed at when we could.
Excellent.
We, as in who?
Oh, my
exactly?
wife Arlene and
Yourself
I. Arlene and I.
Okay.
My wife Arlene. She takes all the pictures for the books.
And she unfortunately is working right now. She had to work tonight, so couldn't get her into the studio. But
Someday she'll be here with us.
yes,
Yes.
definitely.
He does have a wife. I've seen her.
Yes, yes.
The legends are true.
Very attractive lady. Make
Yeah.
an excellent couple. An excellent
Thank you.
investigation couple, too.
Oh, thanks. Yes.
Work very well together. Now, of course, last time we discussed your book, Haunted Rhode Island, and all the different places in our little Quahog state that you've been to, haunted locations. Tell us about your next two books. Haunted Massachusetts. We'll start with that.
Okay. Well, it's on the same premise. It's all
Very
the places.
attractive cover.
Yes, we took that picture. We even were in the lighthouse. It was a lot of fun.
Here, it is the man himself.
Yeah. Taken in our backyard, the haunted backyard.
Let's talk a little bit about Massachusetts and some of the haunted locations there.
Okay. Actually, it was a wonderful book to do. Massachusetts is an awesome state, and a lot of the places that we went to had a lot of, the people were very friendly. They let us in. They talked as much as they could. They're pretty much proud of their haunts. And it's on the same premise as Rhode Island, all the places that the public can visit that are haunted. And we had a lot of help from different people who were in the ghost hunting business, as they say.
You actually give directions? Do you actually give directions?
Yeah, there are directions to every single place. And I try to get them as, from main arteries, of course. They may not be like if you live down the road from me, but for the person probably touring, visiting New England, the directions are right there explicit and takes you right to the place. And all the people are happy to see you when you get there.
Great.
Including the ghosts.
Well, these books are designed, they can be used as handbooks too, right? If you're searching out these haunted places and you have the directions, you have the history of the place right there. So basically it can serve as a handbook for somebody who's interested in visiting some of these allegedly haunted locations, correct?
Right, yeah. And they have some history in there too, so they can learn a little about... Matter of fact, these books have become reading material for many, many schools throughout New England because they have some history in there too as well, and the kids are learning whether they like it or not. Of course, they're into ghost hunting, so...
Yeah. And these books are very popular so far.
Yeah, they have been, really.
I mean, these books are new, and they're really selling like crazy so far.
Yeah. Which I'm glad.
That's really
Everybody's
interesting that they're using
interested.
them in the classrooms. That's excellent.
Yeah, we did a few speeches in New Hampshire for children connecting kids with books, boys with books. They were talking about how they're using them so much, and the kids, and one good thing is, of course, the parents take the kids to these places so they have a little family day. We went to Ramtail Factory, and one of my students was there with their parents, and he ended up doing an investigation with us.
Great.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Wow. So this
Quite
is
interesting.
really good. I like this. I'm psyched about this. This is great.
Yeah, and there's a good story in there on the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Let's cover as much as we can in the short time allotted us. Now, let's take the two most famous hauntings, or alleged hauntings in Massachusetts, as you mentioned, Lizzie Borden in Fall River.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the history of that and the haunting.
Well, of course, everyone should know the history. Lizzie Borden, on August 4th, I think it was, 1892,
Yes.
Allegedly murdered her stepmother and father, and she was acquitted a year later. But according to many people and researchers, the place has been haunted. Most of anything in the house actually has been sold off. I think the kitchen table is the only original piece of furniture left in the house, because they used it for a boarding house. She never returned after she was acquitted. They bought a house up on the hill, called it Maplecroft, and her sister moved out after she had, I guess, a lot of wild parties with the troops and actors of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have allegedly seen her ghost in the cellar, have heard noises. We saw a shadow there, EVPs. Of course, we just saw a nice DVD that showed the camera being bumped upstairs on the 3rd floor.
Right. Thanks to you,
By
Matt.
Matt Moniz. Yeah,
Matt Moniz
thanks to
of
Matt.
Spooky South Coast.
A very convincing piece of evidence.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So you would say this is haunted, in your opinion?
Yeah.
There's the chapter right here. Lizzie Borden
Whether
house.
it's residual or not, I don't know, but there is a lot of things that we got an EVP, and a lot of people have seen or heard a cat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a report where they found, I think it was Abby Borden found a cat with no head or something in the cellar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
What was the EVP?
Ours sounded like "come quick,"
Oh.
and it was in a weird dialect.
Didn't Lizzie say that?
I don't
When,
know.
when her father was, she allegedly found her father murdered. Come quick, father's been murdered.
I think so. I mean, it was in the
Yeah.
movie with Elizabeth Montgomery, but
You're right. Yeah, but I think that is on
yeah,
the
that's
historic
really.
record,
Oh,
too.
that's okay. There you go.
Wow. And of course, that story is very close to my family because my grandfather lived only approximately a mile from the Bordens when that happened, my maternal grandfather, Eddie Place. And our family is buried right next to the Bordens there. So
This is
it's
very
always
cool.
been, we made our annual trip there to see the cemetery and the burial place and everything.
Which is very
Oak
cool.
Grove
Yeah.
Cemetery.
Yeah, it's a really cool place, and they have little arrows painted right to the Borden grave around the road, so you can't miss it if you go there.
Can't miss it. Yeah. Turn left at the Bordens.
Or maybe it's for you guys, the place, and the Bordens would just put there,
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be. We're a rich old New England family, too. Well, the next most famous haunted place, I guess, in Massachusetts. I know you had a question about that, Sandra.
Did I?
Yes. About, the good old witch place.
Well, yeah. I actually have a couple of questions about Salem. One is about Salem, New Hampshire, but yeah, we'll start with Salem, New Hampshire, Salem, Massachusetts, rather. What exactly do you focus on in your book? Because I haven't, embarrassingly enough,
Interesting.
I haven't read it yet. I will after the show.
It's like a mini tour through there because it talks about the different places. We were in the Witch Museum, and one of the ladies who works at the shop said that she had heard stuff when the place was closed in there a couple of times, and she used to get spooked and just quickly close up and leave. And then there was the old burial ground where Giles Corey was, not the old one, but it's a newer old burial ground on Howard Street where Giles Corey was pressed to death. And they said stuff went on there, but we visited it, and we didn't really, I didn't see anything, of course. We took some pictures. It was cool. It's next to the prison, I guess, over there. And we also talk about I think a little about the dungeon, and also where the Carlson Realty House was. The famous picture they have of the witch when they were taking photographs, snapshots. And
Yes,
I go in
yep.
depth about the House of Seven Gables because I found out, it's a really interesting story in itself. I found a book at a yard sale in Maine that was written by Caroline Emerton, The Tale of Three Houses, and she wrote it in 1935 because she bought the House of Seven Gables, rebuilt it, put the gables back up. During Nathaniel Hawthorne's time, the gables didn't exist. They just had the boards, you could see where they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's something I didn't know.
So, and of course, they've seen a ghost of a child in there and heard voices, and he didn't even know, or maybe he did, but I doubt it, the secret staircase that goes up beside the fireplace.
Yes, right.
He didn't know it was
That's
there, I
prominent,
think.
Yeah.
And so it goes into depth about the history of that, the House of Seven Gables, which is interesting in itself.
Well, I find the title interesting. Salem. Is Salem haunted? Why not?
Why not?
And we're all dying to know why not.
Everybody
Why not?
says so.
Everybody goes there every year. It's like Mardi Gras and Halloween. Why
That-
isn't it haunted?
Right. Well, it's pretty scary when you go there.
Haunted
Haunted
by people,
happenings,
then.
and there's like 2 billion people there. You can just lift your legs and just go with the crowd.
Right.
If you're tired of walking.
Well, of course, Salem Village itself is now Danvers, correct?
Right, yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
where a lot of the original history took place.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so.
My
But-
guess is Salem is one of those places where, you know, like Gettysburg, like New Orleans, people, not only did dramatic things happen there, but people are constantly opening doors there, in my opinion. It's one of those places where people are constantly, you know, they're having
Oh, yeah.
seances.
Well, there is a ghost of Giles Corey. We saw something there. It was kind of weird one night, and I could have been just a person, but they talked about the ghost of Giles Corey. Whenever he appears, something bad happens. But
Oh,
of
like
course-
he's an omen?
Yeah, of course, we don't live in Salem, so if something bad happened, you know, and we saw it, then we wouldn't know, but... Yeah, and you're right. People go to the graves and they do these things.
Sheriff
and-
Corwin,
rituals.
right?
Yeah. Yes. And every sheriff supposedly died of a heart attack
Yeah.
or had one. Even, what was his name, who wrote Robert Ellis Cahill. He was a sheriff there. He had a debilitating stroke and had to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote a lot about it, too.
So that's not a coveted position there to be sheriff
No.
of Salem.
No.
No, it's not.
Better off just being a visitor.
Okay. Well, moving right along, why don't we tackle some places in New Hampshire now? Here we have Haunted New Hampshire. Now, that's traveling a little bit further.
Yeah.
But you did extensive research, and of course, it's a bigger place. So how long did it take you to research all this in New Hampshire?
About an hour.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
You move quick.
Yeah, you know, you'd be surprised when you speed read. About 6 months, we were traveling back and forth and going to different places. 'Cause we love New Hampshire anyway, so we're driving.
Yeah, beautiful
We'd
place.
Great
stay
state.
here. And I have some friends. One of my best friends is, his family lived in New Hampshire. He grew up there. He worked everywhere from Hollis to Conway.
Mhm.
The whole family, big families, they never even extended out there. So we had a lot of different people and input and extensions to go to and hang out. And I'd play at their family reunion every year, so we had no choice but to go there.
Right. I should mention Tom is also an accomplished musician. So what instruments do you play?
Guitar.
Play them all, right?
Yeah. Well, anything with strings: guitar, bass, banjo, mandolin, dulcimer, violin, bagpipes, which doesn't have strings. But that's good when you want to get rid of guests late at night. Hammer, dulcimer, the lute. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I love the sound of them.
I do too. You're the only person I've ever met that plays bagpipes.
Yeah, even Arlene is not too keen on it, maybe because I'm not that great at it either, but...
I love the sound of bagpipes.
Oh, yeah. My neighbors don't.
No.
Not
I suppose not.
Why don't they put that cat out of its misery?
Yeah, they thought we had cows that needed milking once.
So, Plymouth. I didn't realize Plymouth was a haunted place.
Yeah, the university, right, yeah. I'm surprised I even put it into that. A lot of, like, Plymouth is a pretty cool place, and it's pretty big, but I can find only, like, one thing of hauntings there. Portsmouth was a huge one. That's awesome. If you go to anywhere, and Portsmouth's only a few hours from here, there's, like, 12 or 13 places you can visit that are haunted in there.
Really?
In one little block, yeah, like half a mile is at least a half a dozen places right there, and then you spread out over, like, a square mile. And, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Do you have any theories as to why this kind of...
Well, it's an old shipping town. I mean, a lot of ships, and there were a lot of sailors there, and there were murders in their time, and there was the kids who would be orphaned because the sailors would go out to sea and they'd leave the chase home. They were major in the shipping. They would take care of the kids, the children. Sometimes these people didn't come back. Also, John Paul Jones, he stayed there for a time when his ship was being ready. So you have a lot of war people also, and it's just a very old town. The graves go back to the middle 1600s. In point of graves over there.
Wow.
What about Salem, New Hampshire? I thought I was going to ask you about Salem, New Hampshire, because we actually investigated a residence in Salem, New Hampshire. It's very interesting haunting. We got a lot of pretty good EVPs and a lot of things happening. You ever touched on that little town?
Well, we did American Stonehenge because New England Ghost Project has done them, and we're good friends with them. And they said that they've gotten stuff there, but they've mostly they did a lot of things there. Mainly next to Salem is Wyndham, and the Wyndham restaurant was one of the most haunted places. that we've seen over there. But
And you
nothing much in
investigated
Salem.
there?
Yeah, we did an investigation there.
And did you come up with anything?
No, we didn't, not really. We did it in May, and we didn't really get anything, but they have so much evidence. They show me all the time that things happen there. Even the owners, they're just totally convinced. It's like every day to them now. Boxes moving, flying across rooms. They'll be sitting here, and this couple just go slide
Really?
across, yeah.
So it doesn't really bother them, right?
Nah, not anymore. So they go through a lot of help.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine so.
Big turnover there.
Yeah.
Here's very interesting.
Gilson Road.
Gilson Road Cemetery.
It's supposed to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in all of New Hampshire.
Really?
It's quite small. We expected to go to this place, and it's just on the side of the road. Little place says, "Do not steal the gravestones."
Yeah. Oh,
I guess people,
right,
yeah, I guess people
that's
want
against the
souvenir.
law. You know?
Yeah.
Well, you say haunted. What is the legendary attached to that?
They've everything from seeing figures walking, misty figures walking around the graves, to hearing voices, to seeing some dark thing that comes out of the woods at like 3 in the afternoon and then goes back in. You know, I don't know, maybe
It's
it's...
actually a quaint little cemetery, too, there.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
It's
it
pretty
doesn't
cool.
look like something that would really unnerve you at all.
No, we went. It was a beautiful day when we went. It looked quite nice and peaceful. It's not that very big either. This is cool. The stone with a hole in it.
It looks very small.
Yeah,
So
it's...
You didn't experience anything there?
No, we did a lot of EVPs. We stayed there about an hour, too, doing like EVPs and readings and, you know, taking pictures and whatnot. But I guess they just were all, it was a weekend. Maybe they were a day of rest for them.
I guess so.
They're week ghosts, yeah.
do you have a lot of luck in cemeteries? What's your...
They're pretty dead
Yeah.
usually. So, couldn't resist.
Big letter office. Good one, Tom.
Actually, no. I have more luck in houses or like B&Bs, things like that, than in cemeteries.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people say, why would ghosts haunt cemeteries? Because they don't know they were going to be there. But there are a lot of people who know where they're going to be buried.
Right.
You know, so there's that theory shot out the window right there. But I never really get too much in cemeteries. We get here and there, but for the amount of cemeteries I've been to, it's,
Yeah.
you know,
I find with
less.
cemeteries, it's mostly the legends associated with them.
Yeah. One thing that happened to me twice in the cemetery, actually 3 times, but the 2 times that were prominent, which was scary, was I came across coyotes face to face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those are the only scariest things I ever had.
Reminds me of our experience at Ramtail that time,
Oh,
led by our old friend Brian Hanwar, who had us running from a pack of wild coyotes that we didn't see, by the way.
you didn't see their eyes glowing like
No,
this, all
no,
bearing
but,
down on you, like fangs.
But he swore we had a whole pack of coyotes running after us, and he had to get us out of there.
That's
so.
because we heard woo 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 woo. So obviously those are coyotes after us.
That was the
Bugle
original...
Virgiana,
What's that?
great horned owl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sounded more like an owl to me.
Yeah, they're very
It was-
distinct like that. They'll say, who are you, who are you, kind of like thing. And then there's 2 different kinds that are native to Rhode Island, so.
Yeah.
But that was actually the original Dude Run story, wasn't it?
Yes, right.
The
And Brian had
original
us,
Dude
running
Run.
out there, you know, when I say go, dude, run. So
I read
people
about
tripping
that.
over rocks. You read about it? Yes, I did write that in story form.
You know, to
That
me,
was a
Tom.
fun night.
Yeah, that was a fun night, a memorable night. And I was going to say, to me, Tom is a Renaissance man in our times because he's so articulate and so well versed in so many varied subjects. You know, music, paranormal lore, zoology, cryptozoology.
He does.
And you've seen my armor, right? That I go
Yes.
jousting
Yes,
with, right?
armor, too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Tom is
A
also.
night for our times.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, Tom is an excellent researcher. As Chris Balzano and I were discussing earlier, and I'd like to say hello to our live audience.
Yes.
Chris,
Chris
how are
is
you?
in our audience
Chris is
tonight.
one who helped me with Massachusetts. MassCrossroads.com. You want to know it? It's there. And Matt
Father
Moniz.
Bob, how you doing? Good to have you with us tonight. So we've got.
Our live studio audience seems to be increasing with every taping.
Yes,
I like that idea.
the word is spreading. So, and thanks especially to Matt, who's making a guest appearance on camera tonight. Matt Moniz of Spooky
Spooky
South
South.
Coast.
We're almost tempted to turn the cameras around and
Yeah,
show what
huh?
we've got here in the studio.
Yeah, all these celebrities.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Our crew are all celebrities.
I know, huh?
we must be
Go
close to
figure.
running out of time by now, but I'd like to touch a little bit on Keene, New Hampshire. I've been there in Keene.
Oh, yeah.
What did you experience there?
Actually, we went to, we had some friends of ours who, they're actually,
Keene
they're
State
in their
College,
year,
yeah.
they go to Keene State College, and they were talking about the ghost of Harriet Huntress, and when we were there, we didn't have anything really happen, but it was pretty cool hearing the story about how they hear her upstairs, and they hear the wheelchair going down the hall, because she built these halls, I guess, she funded it.
Right.
And it was quite an interesting story, and there's a maps you can go there, and you can actually see the hall and go in, and they'll let you in. They do like little things on Halloween for it too.
Mhm.
I guess they promote it.
Great. Isles of Shoals.
Ah, yes.
That's interesting, huh?
Oh, yeah, I love the Isles of Shoals. We went out there on the Thomas Layton.
Really?
Yeah. And we got there, and it was kind of fun because it was a beautiful day, and we were going down there, and all of a sudden the front of the boat goes down, and comes
wow.
up, and the clouds are in the storm, and they're like, okay, we got to stop.
Yeah.
Stop at Appledore.
Unplanned stop.
Oh, we're very unplanned, yeah. They didn't even know. It was like so unexpected.
You had another opportunity to investigate, right?
Yeah, we got a chance to walk around a mite, and yeah.
Great.
It wasn't that long, but we were actually heading to Boone Island, which we never got to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, next time.
Yeah.
Always next time.
Next book.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Sandra?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask you kind of a blanket question. Why do you think there are so many haunted locations here in New England?
New England's very old. It's obviously the first settlement that actually stuck. And we got all these people, you know, and they're mixing in with the native Indians, and and you have a lot of the Indian sites too, of course, the native Indian sites, which now we see, and I guess that's a mixture of it. But it's being the oldest part of the country, it had more time to nurture and gain these things, you know, residuals, and there was an awful lot of strife and violence in the upbringing of our, you know, I guess, forging of this country. You had the French and Indian Wars, you had King Philip's War, you have the Revolution, the War of 1812, and that's all happening here in New England, you know, at one point or another, and it's very prominent because it was an easy place to reach for the British, obviously. And so I guess a lot of violence and a lot of this tough life really has etched itself into the memory of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, I had a question. Cryptozoology is not a subject which we touch upon often on this show, but has there been a Bigfoot sighting in Rhode Island, in Foster?
I heard something about that.
That's all you can say?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't talk about it.
I know, I heard something about it.
It's a bad subject for this show.
No, we do have our Bigfoot sightings here in Little Rhodey, too.
Yeah.
Probably in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, too. I would not be surprised at
They
all.
say this
Everywhere in the
creature-
country.
Well, in
been
Massachusetts,
sighted.
they have what is called the Bridgewater Triangle, which Christopher Balzano is, and Matt, you've done that too, right? Yeah, they both have studied heavily, and there's lots of readings by them that'll open your eyes on that.
Every
Right.
state has a report of seeing
Yeah.
this ape-like creaure, sometimes
Yep.
referred to as Sasquatch, sometimes Bigfoot.
Well, when you get to where I live, they're everywhere. I mean, you just, you know, we all work farms out there.
Right.
No, we can.
I
They're
get it.
wonderful
You've
place.
agreed not to talk about the Bigfoot populace there.
No, I know.
You want good relations with Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he comes, you know, he comes visits, gives us, you know, chickens and stuff. So we won't talk about it. Just keep bringing the food. No.
Well,
Have it
Rhode
your
Island
way.
used to have Apex Ape. Wasn't it called the Apex
the
Ape?
apex
It was
ape 30
huge.
years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
White,
the Apex
hairy
Ape.
creature
Yeah.
that was...
Very limited reporting on that, but two people swear they saw it.
Yeah.
The apex ape.
Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that sometime, because that's interesting, too, Rhode Island cryptozoology. Very little known, of course, but...
I want the
Yeah.
apex ape on our show.
Well, we'll see if we
He
do.
You're
might
out
still be
there.
around. I mean, he could be in Ramtail Woods. He scared you away.
See what you can drag in next time.
Yeah, there you go. We'll have to go rummaging through the woods. We've been doing that for our new book, so you never know what we'll find.
Right. Well, Sandra, while I have you on the spot, could you say a little bit about our contact info?
I will endeavor to do just that. We want you to know that we at New England Anomalies Research are available to research alleged hauntings or assist those of you who may be experiencing unexplained phenomena in your home or business. We'd also like to hear from you if you have a show suggestion or want to be a guest on Ghosts Are Near, like Mr. D'Agostino here. So give us a shout out at ghostorsnear@cox.net, and we will believe you.
Excellent. Well, in our last minute, what's ahead for you?
Well,
You
right.
and Arlene.
Minute
we-
or two.
Yeah, the
A
both
couple
of us.
more.
Yeah. We just finished Pirate Ghosts and Phantom Ships, which will be out in
Excellent.
2008. Yeah, and that was a really fun book. We got to stay in Gloucester for a week. We visited Dogtown, and we're doing abandoned villages in New England right now.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, we found about 40 of them.
Is that so? Wow.
Yeah, and they're in the woods. Some of them in parklands and wetlands and other preservation areas where they've been preserved, and some have incredible histories.
That's amazing in itself because Rhode Island especially is getting so built up, you know, and there's not as much rural land left, and so I'm
Right,
glad
yeah.
some of these so-called lost villages are being preserved. Barrahack.
Yeah, Barrahack. Yeah, around here we got Ramtail, which is a little village. Barrahack.
Little village, yeah.
Hampton City. They actually the state helped the town of Smithfield buy Hampton City. Hampton City was one of the first villages. The Hampton City Trail and Aldrich Trail are the oldest roads in the state.
Wow.
And then development started coming in, and they bought a big chunk of it, and now that's being preserved for people to go, still walk. Because the roads are still there.
Yeah, that's allegedly haunted too.
Yes, yes.
Is that going to be the focus of your next book? Kind
Yeah,
of?
abandoned villages of New England, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whether
We
they're
look
haunted or
forward to
not, there's still ghost towns, and there's still incredible things that
Right,
happen.
just the history itself.
Mm.
Well, Tom, I'd really like to thank you for coming back, and believe me,
you.
we'll have to have you come back again because you got one book coming out after another, and we want to know all about it. Really do.
Definitely.
Yeah, they keep me busy.
When we say
Well,
to you,
thank
we
you.
want you to come back, we mean business.
I will be here.
All right.
I'll be back.
Hey, Tom, thanks a million.
Well,
Thanks
thank
a
you. It's
million.
an honor being here. I
We
love
got to
being
check
you
out the
guys.
tavern next time.
Oh, yeah.
Tavern on the
definitely.
Main
Tavern on the Main, yep.
Yeah?
Eat, drink, and be scary.
We'll
Just
do
like
it.
the shirt says.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, so much for being our attentive audience tonight, and we've had some fun along with it. So.
And hello to Mary in Michigan. I've been meaning to say that.
Hello, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
All right.
You don't even know her.
I can say hi.
Okay, it's appreciated. It is.
Okay. Well, until next time, goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.
Let's just chat.
Good night.
I do.